Sky at night here is special, let me tell you, especially on Hatteras Island where there's very little light pollution. Like seeing the Milky Way, seeing shooting stars, seeing sometimes satellites launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida. These are things you can't really see in the overwhelming majority of the East Coast. It is grounding in a way. We're on this earth in a special location.
To me, the most neatest thing I've ever witnessed, and it was 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago, was when the Shelly Island phenomena developed off at Cape Hatteras. I kept hearing a few people saying that there was a good wave on it, and then that as hurricane season approached and late August got here and nor'easters were starting to blow, it was the most magical experience, seeing a true left point break. And the watercolor, every time I went, it was the color of scope mouthwash, green tropical Tortola water. 3 times I was there for it, and all 3 times I felt like I just came from something magical happened that day. It was cool.
Living in the moment is something that people need to really take advantage of here because it can change drastically. And when the stars align, that's the moment to take advantage of and really to really fulfill your life.
I went out after the worst of the nor'easter winds had abated a little bit to just document the rolled up ocean and the foam. As I was coming down the stairs onto the beach, I thought there was a piece of blue sea glass on the sand. I thought, oh my gosh, blue, that's amazing. All the bubbles were iridescent. It wasn't glass at all. And it reminded me again, even in the midst of loss, of destruction, there's beauty to be found if we look for it.
There is nothing like being here on the Outer Banks once a storm comes and there's like a break in the storm. It's the prettiest sky you can ever see. Just after the storm, how the seagulls come back, the air is clear, it's crisp, it's a cleansing of whatever was going on. And I enjoy that feeling that the world does not center around us. It's what it means to be from here.
do we mark time by what comes before and after? Or is it this moment and what we do with it that truly matters? The Outer Banks of North Carolina starts every day with an open invitation to explore, to pursue unknown outcomes, and challenge curiosities, to stir the soul with open spaces and endless possibilities.
PlayOBXGolf.com is your gateway to a great golf vacation on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Stretched between the Sound and the Atlantic Ocean, the Outer Banks offers a one-of-a-kind coastal golf experience. 5 award-winning courses and well-appointed golf accommodations in a picturesque setting make the Outer Banks the perfect choice for your next golf getaway. And fall is the perfect time to experience the best weather and the best course conditions of the year. Your golf trip to North Carolina's Outer Banks is just a click away at PlayOBXGolf.com.
Capacity to explore a passion while learning from the greatest to ever do it. Reliability to make those who are far away feel like they never left. Speeds for fueling moments of discovery while sparking curiosity. It's not just internet, it's a gateway to opportunities you never even knew existed. Ripple Fiber, multiplying potential for you, your family, and the community.
The Corolla Wild Horse Fund was formed in 1989 by a group of grassroots volunteers who had a deep concern about the wild horses who have lived here for 5 centuries getting hit by vehicles as the area became more and more developed. We have evolved now to the point where we have full-time staff, and our mission is to preserve and protect the last remaining registered colonial Spanish Mustangs left in the world.
How the wild horses of Corolla found their way onto the Outer Banks has always been a mystery. Karen felt that understanding their origin would help with the process of saving those remaining.
I looked into the North Carolina archives, and there are actually, we benefited because the Spaniards kept very meticulous ship's logs. And many ships that came over here, because this was basically uncharted water, ran aground on sandbars. And in order to lighten the load and refloat the ship, the heavy things went overboard, and one of the heavy things that went overboard was horses. And we know that every Spanish ship that came over to this part of the New World had horses on board. Some of the horses obviously were able to swim ashore because these sandbars that run off the island, the water's very shallow. If you watch people swimming in the ocean, they can be out quite far and only be up to their knees. So, and also there are 2,000 shipwrecks on the bottom of the Outer Banks, all up and down the coast. It's called the Graveyard of the Atlantic. And so it stands to reason that some horses were able to survive a shipwreck and swim ashore, and some are simply left behind when colonies failed. We do not interfere with them in any way unless it is a life-threatening or quality of life issue. We do not supplementally feed them in the winter. They're on their own. They're like deer and any other wild animal that lives here.
I'm the herd manager, so it's my job to actually go out, monitor, assess, count, maintain a healthy herd of wild horses. We have 138 horses here. And from my standpoint, it's very important to be able to evaluate an animal and to make sure that that animal is healthy, and therefore we can make a decision that can benefit that animal if the animal needs care. I think what's unique is the environment in which they live in. They're still horses, but how they get their daily and nutritional needs met, it's completely different than a domestic horse. So it's not necessarily understanding horses by themselves. It's being able to understand natural resources and the horses and the ecology between the two. People enjoy horses, hands down, and it's a beautiful sight to see them on the beach, especially if you were to look here and you were to see them adjacent to the water and the ocean. I mean, that's a beautiful sight, and I think everybody would be fortunate to see that. This herd of horses, they're living in an environment that we as people like to enjoy, especially in the summertime. So because of that, people have decided to make some of this their vacation spot or home. And they have acquired the land that the horses reside on. And that's a challenge, because when you construct or develop a home, those horses lose resources that they need.
The area at Corolla where the horses have traditionally thrived has become a very popular holiday destination. The beach itself is designated as a highway, with hundreds of holidaymakers as well as locals using it as a thoroughfare. The land adjoining the beach is increasingly being built upon, and as the Outer Banks are separated from the mainland by a wide stretch of lagoon, the wild horses have learned to live amongst the trappings of a modern society.
There is a lot of interaction. And you know, for the most part, I think it goes back to education. People come here to see horses, and they, for the most part, I would say they try to be respectful and give them their space, but I don't think they really have a true understanding of what it means to be a horse here. And so if we could only talk to those horses, we would know a little bit more. I've come to appreciate all breeds of horses versus just one breed of horse. I came from a traditional quarter horse background, but since I've been here, I've been exposed to a unique horse that is definitely hardy. I think what's special about these horses is the environment in which they live in and how they have adapted to that environment. This can be a harsh place to live. In the wintertime, it's very cold. In the summertime, it's brutally hot. We have a lot of insects and biting flies, and I can only imagine if you were to compare these horses to a domestic horse, these horses, they're not cared for like a domestic horse. So it could be a challenge living in this environment. How they've adapted to it is amazing. And then how they've adapted to the people also. That's unique itself.
They're a very adaptable breed, otherwise they still wouldn't be here 5 centuries later. They've survived massive hurricanes, brutal nor'easters, insects, defied the diseases that affect other horses. But now they're having to deal with an influx of people. There are already about 700 homes constructed up there. There are 3,150 platted lots, and on any given day in the summer there can be 3,000 vehicles driving on the beach, because the beach is the public road and that's how people have access to their houses. Our goal is to keep them wild and free as long as we possibly can. And that in itself presents a challenge, because they are in an area where 70% of the land is privately owned, has been developed to a certain extent, and has the potential for more development as the years go by.
I think if we don't come up with a plan that considers the landscape, the horses, the people, I don't feel comfortable with their future here. Well, if we're going to be stewards of the horse, we need to come up with the solution. It's just like if we were to take on ownership of any other horse, we've decided to take on the responsibility of that animal. So if we're going to manage or take responsibility for these horses, yes, I think we owe them. because we have deemed ourselves as the stewards of the horse.
Outer Banks Furniture is the leather expert on the beach and the only furniture store exclusively offering Omnia leather. With almost 200 different colors and styles to choose from, with unmatched design, comfort, and luxury, Omnia Leather only sources hand-picked top-grain hides from the oldest tanneries in the world, then creates the finest chairs, sofas, recliners, and accent pieces right here in the USA. Find the exceptional collection of Omnia Leather exclusively at Outer Banks Furniture, Milepost 1 in Kitty Hawk.
We have a basic human need to feel connected to nature, to the idea of something bigger, to one another. The Outer Banks of North Carolina, a chain of barrier islands shaped by wind and water, connected by the elements, just open spaces and endless possibilities. What lies beneath the surface? The waters of the Outer Banks share their secrets, one cast at a time. Total relaxation, absolute exhilaration. The Outer Banks of North Carolina, a chain of barrier islands shaped by wind and water, connected by the elements, just open spaces and endless possibilities.
Connected to mainland North Carolina, yet seemingly a world away, Edenton is known as the prettiest small town in the South. Time passes slowly in the state's first colonial capital. The lure of historic sites, outdoor adventure, and friendly people draws visitors from near and far, whether by car or boat. Let our lighthouse be your beacon to a relaxing getaway on the Albemarle Sound. Find your Eden in Edenton, North Carolina, the South's prettiest small town.
My name's Al Adam, and I'm currently president of the North Carolina Beach Buggy Association. The association was actually chartered in Nags Head in 1964 with a mission of maintaining access for ORVs on the beaches of the Outer Banks and all of North Carolina. The name of our association doesn't truly reflect what we do. Most of our members, our 3,500 plus members, drive pickup trucks or sport utility vehicles, not actually beach buggies per se. The driving on the beach became popular with the advent of commercially available four-wheel drives. That happened in the late 60s to mid-70s. Prior to that, the four-wheel drive industry was mostly military vehicles, which did go back to the early 1900s, but they were rarely seen for public purchase. Prior to four-wheel drive vehicles, many people drove the beaches of the Outer Banks to go fishing, do various things that they enjoyed on the beach. They did it with two-wheel drive vehicles, and they did it by running very low air pressure, maintaining a footprint on the sand, much like putting a snowshoe on in snow, something to reduce the PSI pressure on the sand to give you a flotation. The Hatters didn't have a paved road the length of the island until 1953 or 54. So if you wanted to travel up and down the island to the ferry at Oregon Inlet, you used the beach. And that was done primarily with two-wheel drive vehicles, including a bus service that regularly ran from Hatteras Village all the way up to Oregon Inlet to the ferry. Before the advent of four-wheel drive, if a fisherman wanted to get to his favorite remote spot that wasn't readily accessible by hiking, they would use a two-wheel drive vehicle. It was recommended to bring friends along with you because you were going to get stuck and you need somebody to help push. Four-wheel drive vehicles changed that game. So it's a privilege we like to maintain. We want to do that by promoting good beach driving ethics and by following the rules of the individual agencies that govern different parts of the beaches It may be county, it may be municipality like Nags Head, it may be the National Park Service like Hatteras Island. The rules that they have are focused on safety and preserving the resource. No driving on the dunes. From a safety aspect, we want to be careful of pedestrians and other vehicles. The speed limit is 15 miles per hour. The single most important factor, air down. Low air will allow you to remain on top of the sand instead of burying in the sand. Please air down before you go on the ramp. We frequently see people stuck on the ramp. That doesn't help anybody. Air down prior to going on the beach. You'll do yourself, your vehicle, and other drivers a favor. Slow and easy wins the day on the beach. When you turn, you want to make as gradual a turn as possible. No sharp turns. Turning your wheel sideways in the sand, you start to plow, and that slows you down and can lead to getting stuck. The only other thing that's always a good policy, unless you're the first guy on the beach for the day, it's fairly safe to follow somebody else's tracks. If somebody else has gone there, they've driven over it, and they're not stuck in the middle of those tracks, there's a good possibility that's a safe place to go. And other than that, slow and steady, low air pressure, you'll have a good day on the beach.
Nothing beats a day at the beach, but the power of the ocean deserves everyone's respect. So if you plan on going for a swim when the surf is rough,
why risk it? When in doubt, just stay out.
But if you do decide to take a dip,
warning flags are flying for a reason. Listen to the lifeguards. Stay out.
Hey ladies, if you're an experienced swimmer and think you can safely handle the surf,
even the most experienced swimmers can get caught in a rip current and swept out to sea. Stay on the shoreline.
if the waves are rough, be sure to take a flotation device, such as a raft or a bodyboard.
Rafting boards aren't designed to save your life. If the surf is rough, just play it safe and stay out.
Well, there you have it. Make sure your Outer Banks vacation is a memorable one for all the right reasons.
Know before you go by checking the daily OBX beach conditions forecasts. Watch for rip current warnings and listen to the lifeguard. When the red flags are flying, stay safe by staying on the beach and out of the water.
Live like a local and love the beach, respect the ocean.
Albemarle Queen, and we went down the Roanoke River and just had a great time listening to some nice jazz music and
to meet a lot of nice people, and it was really smooth on the Roanoke, really nice, and you get a view of the town and of the area that you don't usually get to see.
There was jazz, there was birds, there was water. What else do you want?
It was great. Yeah, great view.
Yeah, we saw an osprey, blue heron.
I think it
was fun.
Yeah,
enjoyed
I
it.
loved it. Great
It was very
experience.
relaxing to sit and like listen to live music while after a long day of like walking up and down the street like 100 times.
Really good time. It was and it was so peaceful. The boat ride was very smooth. Very smooth. And we waved at all the other boats as they went up and down the river, and and the Marine Patrol from the other boats didn't even rock the boat because this boat was so big and so heavy. So it was a really smooth ride. We saw deer, saw probably about 100 turtles.
Yeah.
Some of them were big. One was this big. One of the biggest turtles I've seen on the river.
We saw some fish jump out the water. We saw lots of the helicopters go by from the helicopter station.
Yeah, from the helicopter rides.
Recommend it to other folks?
Oh, it was so good. We felt really blessed to get to go on it, really.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, Cyrus.
What?
Oh, Vinny! Oh my God!
There's more to the story at rawobx.com.
In a world of ordinary vacations, live the extraordinary. Real Outer Banks.
Despite what you've heard, 911 cannot locate you immediately when calling from a cell phone. Do you know the street address of your location in the event of an emergency? When you call 911, we don't either, unless you can tell us.
Take a tour of an Outer Banks icon and experience what life was like here in the Roaring 20s. Whalehead in historic Corolla Park is a beautifully restored Art Nouveau masterpiece and museum located on the Currituck Sound. For tour information, go to visitwhalehead.com.
Welcome to Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. You all are going to be climbing the tallest brick lighthouse in North and South America. So we're going to be going up 257 stairs, and it's the equivalent of climbing a 12-story building. So I hope you did your stretches for this morning. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is the fuel storage tank, and this is where they would store all of the kerosene fuel to light the Fresnel lens that was lit up at the top. So the lighthouse keepers, they would have had to carry 2 40-pound fuel canisters up the lighthouse with them. So there's 8 landings in the lighthouse, and those were designed for the lighthouse keepers to stop, set their oil tanks down, and take breaks, which is what we're going to do today. So these stairs were all replaced in 2008. They used the original molding, so it looks very similar to the original, but it's the new cast iron. There are alternate landings all the way up throughout the lighthouse, and on each landing there's a window. There's a north-facing view and a south-facing view. So they provided these windows for us because obviously there was no electricity, so it provided a lot of light for the lighthouse keepers, and also to get some nice airflow circulation throughout the lighthouse. The windows during the summer when the lighthouse opens in the 3rd Friday of every April, the maintenance crew will open the windows and they'll stay open all summer long. Unless we have a big hurricane coming, then they'll come and close the windows. The next landing that we're going to be getting to is the halfway mark. So after this landing, we have 124 more stairs to climb. And you'll notice this piece of railing that is going through the center of the lighthouse. Now it's wired for electricity, but in the olden days we had a Fresnel lens that lit the light. And so there would have been 150-pound weights that would slowly descend through the middle of the lighthouse, and this railing would guide those weights down. So the momentum of those weights falling through the center would cause the Fresnel lens to spin, so it kind of worked as a grandfather clock. We actually had one of the last lighthouse keeper's daughters who grew up here, and she was telling us stories of how her and her sisters would swing from the weights side by side to play inside of the lighthouse, which was really neat. As they were building the lighthouse board wanted this lighthouse to be the most imposing and substantial lighthouse on the continent, if not the world. And so that's why they used only the finest materials to build the lighthouse. So when we get up to this landing, you'll notice the black slate and the white marble. That is on all of the landings. And so if you look really closely, you can see actually some fossils in the black slate. And then the base of the lighthouse was mined from a quarry in Vermont, and it's all granite on the base. So the lighthouse keepers had many jobs in the lighthouse, and one of them was giving tours to local residents. When the lighthouse was electrified in 1934, everybody wanted to come and see the electric light in the lighthouse. And so our last lighthouse keeper we had, Mr. Unaka Jeanette, he wrote in his journal that he gave 17 tours to locals throughout the day. So can you imagine climbing up into times a day? You can see that the paint is chipping along the walls here. Typically every 5 years the lighthouse gets painted, and it was last painted in 2014. They used 450 gallons of paint to do that. The final staircase is a little bit different. There's no handrails, and there's a door that leads to up on the balcony, and this door was used for really gusty days or during storms. The lighthouse keepers could close that. That way the gusts coming up through the lighthouse wouldn't blow out the oil lamp. The lighthouse is still in operation to this day. We have a 7.5-second flash, and the light goes out into the ocean about 20 miles on a clear day. And it's still used as a second form of navigation, although a lot of mariners these days are using GPS in more modern form. This still serves as a confirmation for local fishing boats and mariners out at sea. And now we're entering to where the pedestal once stood. So the Fresnel lens would have been 12 feet high by 6 feet wide, and the base of it would have been right here where this table was. And this is closed to the public. Only the Coast Guard is allowed up there to change the bulbs twice a year. The bulb that is in the lighthouse now is 800,000 candle power. It's a 1,000-watt halogen bulb, and one bulb costs $240 to replace. We have now made it to the top, so welcome. This summer is really unique because we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the lighthouse being moved here at Cape Hatteras National Seashore. And when you're up on top of the balcony, you can actually see where the lighthouse used to sit in its original location and the moving path that the lighthouse took to get here. So the lighthouse used to sit, if you can see that brown structure going into the ocean over there, that's the groin. There were a series of 3 of those built to help restore the beaches. And the lighthouse sat right in front of that first groin, right behind that grassy sand dune. You can kind of see a big sandy area. And this clear cut through the trees right here is the moving path that it took to get from all the way over there to right here where we are today. It was a 23-day long journey to move it 2,900 feet, so just over a half of a mile. 20 years ago, everything was moved, not just the lighthouse. So if you look down, you can see the two homes where the lighthouse keepers once lived. All of those buildings were moved as well, along with the sidewalk. So everything's in proportion to how it was set up in the old location. In the new location, it was put about 1,500 feet away from the ocean. And back in 1870, when this lighthouse was built in the old location, it was about 1,500 feet from the ocean then. And now you can see just how close the ocean is. So it's possible with barrier island migration and how these islands move, that in the next 80 to 100 years, we may be facing the same situation we did 20 years ago. You get a really great shot of Cape Point over here, and this was pretty much the main reason why we needed such a tall lighthouse in the area. We have two really major currents that are basically meeting right over there at the point. We have the Labrador current that's flowing north to south with the really cold water, and then of course we have the Gulf Stream that is flowing south to north with that really warm water. And with those currents, they push a lot of sand and sediment, which builds underwater sand mountains basically. And some of these sand mountains can be about 250 feet high under the water. So mariners would be in really deep water, and then all of a sudden the bottoms of their boats would hit these big shoals under the water. And so this area out here is called the graveyard of the Atlantic because so many ships wrecked out along the shore here of the Outer Banks. We really hope to see you in person here on the grounds. The lighthouse is open for climbing daily until Columbus Day, October 14th. We are open 9 o'clock is the first climb every day, and you have to be here by 4:30 to get your last climb at 4:40 of the day. So thanks for visiting, and we hope to see you soon.
My name is Quentin Turco and I live in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And I do everything from surfing to fishing to spearfishing to paddleboarding. I mean, pretty much anything that involves the ocean. The power of the ocean deserves everyone's respect. The force of shorebreak waves can catch unsuspecting swimmers off guard, driving them into the sand, causing neck and back injuries, and in some cases, even drowning. Such incidents can easily be prevented with a few local tips. Know before you go and check local beach forecasts before you head out. Always swim near a lifeguard. Always be mindful of incoming waves even when near the water's edge. When in the water, play the over-under game. Little waves we go over, larger waves we go under. Live like a local, love the beach, respect the ocean.